September 2024, I cycled over 1,400 kilometers down the Rhine River for 3 weeks to explore how local actions to restore and protect the river can benefit our ocean. Join me on this 9-part series where I explore different topics with local people along the river that are driving positive change. At around 440 kilometers into my cycle from the Swiss Alps to Basel in Switzerland, I met with Ruedi Bösiger, who leads river restoration and conservation for the Worldwide Fund for Nature, or the WWF, in Switzerland. Ruedi leads the Salmon Comeback Project, which is an interesting example of how holistic river management from Switzerland all the way to Netherlands can benefit the Rhine River.
Rhine used to be the main salmon river in the end of the 19th, beginning of 20th century. And it altered, and salmon has been wiped out in the 50s. But to have salmon back also means that we work on the whole river basin and the ocean, obviously. But our work is on freshwater in the free-flowing parts, that we have enough spawning grounds, enough habitat for reproducing, and the connectivity from the ocean to the source is restored.
So the Salmon Comeback Project is trying really hard to bring back salmon into the Rhine, all the way up to the city of Basel, where they actually once spawned.
Quite a lot of people, mainly here in Basel, they remember that salmon used to be part of their culture for eating in the last century. On a policy level, we try to influence the authorities with advocacy measures, and we try to come up with very concrete projects to improve salmon spawning grounds.
Salmon requires high quality water and gravel beds to enable their spawning, and so projects that facilitate salmon migration and other migratory fish species in the Rhine can improve water quality and river function as well, which has benefits also for society.
The benefits for the local area is obvious, that if salmon is well, or the populations of salmon can grow in the freshwater, then you can say that all the aquatic species have a chance or are well in the water, because it needs a good water quality. If this happens, water also infiltrates the ground, so you can say that the drinking water resources are replenished by healthy rivers. A lot of people like to stroll around the water. They prefer to do it on a natural river rather than on a channel, right?
Mm-hmm. Improving water quality and river ecosystems for fish spawning can also have a positive effect on the ocean as well.
The benefits for the ocean is that the water quality is higher, it reaches the ocean, that sediment reaches the ocean, that the whole water cycle is being closed. If salmon has the chance to breed and grow in their habitats in fresh water, the populations will grow also in the oceans.
This is especially important as fish populations globally are declining due to overfishing and destruction of natural habitats. One of the biggest issues currently facing the reintroduction of salmon to the Rhine River are hydropower dams along the Rhine and its tributaries as well. These dams alter the natural river flow and are a physical barrier to salmon and other fish species that are trying to travel upstream and downstream.
It's mainly the dams, but also the habitat for spawning. There's not enough habitat for spawning. All the construction work, all the channeling, all the steady flows. For the spawning grounds you need a lot of gravel in a specific size. Gravel transport is important, and that there's different structure where gravel island can grow and disappear.
In addition to the dams, the straightened river channels have drastically altered the river flow and also sediment deposition in the river, which has wiped out suitable habitats for fish spawning. But the success of fish migration and other projects connecting source to sea relies on cooperation along the river, which can be challenging, though not impossible.
It's very much connected to the different players. The authorities on the national and the county level play an important role for the endorsement of all this restoration work. And the hydropower companies, they need to restore their power plants. When it comes to restoration of habitat, You need more space for the rivers. This means you have to deal with farmers, with the agricultural sector, what can be very difficult. But also the impoundments, channeling has been also done for having more space for infrastructure. This is even more tricky when it comes to widen a river when you need space and there's a street on the left or on the right. You have to deal also with the infrastructure sector to have more space. And it's very much interconnected. We work with all these players and we try to cooperate very closely with other NGOs working on freshwater.
These issues are also being faced in other regions too, so by sharing knowledge between projects and also across the globe, we can move towards holistic water management.
When it comes to how to deal with hydropower, we have a lot of experience in Switzerland in sort of restoring hydropower, making it more ecological, but also being aware that hydropower doesn't produce that much greenhouse gas in our region, but has a high impact on the freshwater biodiversity. And within the WWF network, we try to share this experience with our colleagues in other countries, and we try to share our experience not to make the same faults as we did in Switzerland or the northern part of the Alps. What we also see is that hydropower can have quite a lot of CO2 emissions in the tropical zone when the impoundments and organic material is producing methane gas. So these are kind of the findings that we share in the network, but we try to spread. Obviously, we do learn quite a lot of restoration work that is being done on other rivers, on connectivity, on best practices, and we try to get this knowledge also on dam removal, for example, on removing obsolete dams. There's a lot of work that has been done in the US, and that's sort of swapping over to Europe, and we try to learn from this and bring it up and have it as a whole movement, because there's hundreds and thousands of obsolete dams still standing in our European rivers.
There's a range of solutions that exist not only on the river but also at the estuary and in the ocean as well.
How fisheries are being done, mainly at the estuary, before salmon enters or fish enters the mouth of the Rhine. How fisheries are being managed is very important. Aquaculture has heavy impact on salmon especially, but on other species as well. So these are probably the two main threats for salmon in the ocean.
You can tune in next time to hear from Niels Kauken, who's the maintenance manager for the Haringvliet Sluices storm surge barrier in the Netherlands, to learn about how fish migration can be supported at the mouth of the river in the Rhine estuary.